All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our service here on Zoom this morning for the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Springfield, Missouri. Of course, my name is Becca Reynolds. I have not disappeared into the fourth dimension. I've just been very busy and a lot going on. But here I am again. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And of course, I'm a redheaded trans woman. Today I'm wearing a green dress because it's warm. Uh, whether this is your first time here today or one of many, we're glad to see you here today. Obviously, with this terrible, terrible weather, do not get out. It is bitter, bitter cold out there. The roads are not terrible from what I'm hearing, but unless it's absolutely essential, do not get out because it's just bitter, bitter cold. Um, please stay at the end of this service for conversation in breakout rooms, and we can sit and visit. It's always a pleasure to see everybody. It's always a pleasure to be service leader, which is my role today. Today, we light many chalices in our own homes or wherever we are. If you don't have a chalice, just acknowledge the spark in your own heart that connects you to the rest of us. And then I am going to light my chalice where everyone can see it. And I even put my UU emblem in front of it. Everybody see that? We light these chalices for the weary ones, for those carrying more than their share of grief, anger, and fear. This shared flame asks only for our presence. It reminds us that strength can look like softness, and faithfulness can look like sitting still long enough to remember why we care. May this light hold us until we are ready to move again.
I'd be totally fine for that. I need to bring some sort of soft blanket because backpack. Oh yeah.
Are we playing a tape of Rise Up, O Flame, or are we just moving on?
Yes, there's a video.
Okay.
Adam, we can't see the video. I'm not sure if you're playing it or not.
I'm actually having trouble with share as well, and it looks like Adam might have dropped.
Let me try it real quick.
Thanks.
Two is
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, rise up, O flame, thy light show to us, vision and joy. And rise up, O flame, thy light show to us, vision and joy. And rise up, O flame,
Ooh, we have a story video for you today called The Rabbit Listened written and illustrated by Dory Korfeld. We choose this story because it reminds us that when something hard happens, advice and fixing are not always what we need first. Sometimes what helps most is having someone just be there for us and listen without pressure. Our world pushes us to move on, but this rabbit shows us that the gift of quiet presence helps us become more ready for what comes next.
Adam, I don't think we have any sound.
Things came crashing down.
Got it, thanks.
The chicken was the first to notice. What a shame. I'm so sorry this happened. Let's talk about it. But Taylor didn't feel like talking. So the chicken left. Next came the bear. How horrible. I bet you feel so angry. Let's shout about it. But Taylor didn't feel like shouting. So the bear left. The elephant knew just what to do. I can fix this. We just need to remember exactly the way things were. But Taylor didn't feel like remembering. So the elephant left. One by one, they came. The hyena. Let's laugh about it. The ostrich. Let's hide and pretend nothing happened. The kangaroo. What a mess. Let's throw it all away. And the snake. Let's go knock down someone else's.
Amy?
But Taylor didn't feel like doing anything with anybody. So, eventually, they all left. Until Taylor was alone. In the quiet, Taylor didn't even notice the rabbit. But it moved closer and closer, until Taylor could feel its warm body. Together they sat in silence until Taylor said, "Please stay with me." The rabbit listened. The rabbit listened as Taylor talked. The rabbit listened as Taylor shouted. The rabbit listened as Taylor remembered and laughed. The rabbit listened to Taylor's plans to hide, to throw everything away, to ruin things for someone else. Through it all, the rabbit never left. And when the time was right, the rabbit listened to Taylor's plan to build again. "I can't wait," Taylor said. "It's gonna be amazing."
Becca, you're muted.
Thank you. Our words of invitation today are For Those Doing the Work of Resistance by Reverend Michelle Collins. Spirit of community, source of renewal, Some days our hearts beat with fire, plan making, chanting, moving, imagining. Other days the spark barely flickers. The work seems endless, but we are not. Help us honor the cycle, the surge, the setback, the pause. Teach us to rest without guilt, to act without self righteousness, to remember that resistance, too, lives in laughter, in tenderness, in song. May this gathering refill what the world drains, so we can return again to the work, still imperfect, still alive, still willing. Our hymn for the month of January is Lift Every Voice and Sing. This powerful hymn speaks to the experience of African Americans throughout American history. We won't be singing it today as that's difficult on Zoom, but the Langston Hughes poem, Freedom's Plow, also speaks to those experiences. The closing stanza reads, "A long time ago, an enslaved people heading toward freedom made up a song. Keep your hand on the plow, hold on. That plow plowed a new furrow across the field of history. Into that furrow the freedom seed was dropped. From that seed a tree grew. It's growing, will ever grow. That tree is for everybody, for all Americans, for all the world. May its branches and all people, or may branches spread and its shelter grow until all races and all peoples know its shade. Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on."
Good morning. My name is Dacia. My pronouns are she and her. I'm wearing a black polo shirt with a teal and various kinds of black circles. It somehow speaks to me of winter chaos, among other things. And I'm a member of the Pastoral Care Circle. As a community, we share joys and concerns to keep connected. And you may type your joy or concern into the chat box now. During the week, you can send your joys or concerns by email to pastoralcare@springfielduu.org or by leaving a voicemail on the church phone, 417-883-3922. Remember, the chat box is available for joys and concerns this morning. All of the joys and concerns that we share will be included in the members' email on Tuesday. We honor each joy or concern with a stone dropped into a bowl of water. The outward ripples remind us of the love we as a community offer for each of the joys and concerns. This morning, I will be dropping the stones and reading the joys and concerns from the chat box. So now, as we begin this time of sharing, know that though we are in multiple physical spaces, we are together in beloved community. To begin, we hold in love, all of us, in our various snowbound locations. We drop a stone for our church community. Okay, I'm checking the chat. From Reverend Michelle. My heart breaks for the people of Minneapolis who are living under federal occupation. I am holding in my heart, especially today, the families of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. May they rest in power. Steve Samuelson writes, I am in Columbus, Ohio. visiting my wife. She no longer recognizes me. We drop a stone of support for Steve. From Jesse. Please keep my family and I in mind as my grandmother, who helped to raise me, passed away on Friday. She was such a strong woman, and she is very missed. We drop a stone of concern and support for Jessie and her family. From Joy Neal. My friend's dog has been sick. He loves that dog more than anything, and they've been in my thoughts this week. We drop a stone of support. A joy from Neil Richardson Sr. Despite the terrible things happening in the world, I see friends uniting to represent good. We drop a stone of celebration for that uniting. From Mark McGinn. We all feel pain and anger. May we hold on to each other in this time of distress. So may it be. From Jane. Concern for Walt and myself as we drive north on Tuesday for Walt's Thursday surgery in Columbia. Please send good thoughts. We're holding you in our thoughts and sending good thoughts for successful surgery and safe travels. Concern from Jennifer. Concern for my neighbor who lost hope and the police officer who shot her in self-defense yesterday evening. We really need to do better for people than this. I'm very sorry. We drop a stone of sorrow. And from Yomi, to everyone, I've been approved by the doctors in Tulsa to get the histotripsy special surgery, special treatment. I'm getting an MRI first in February. This treatment is instead of radiation, and is much better on your body. I'm hopeful that it'll get rid of the lesions on my liver. So are we, and yay that you're getting that care. We drop a stone of support and celebration. From Holly to everyone, a joy for a good neighbor who cleared off my driveway and sidewalk this morning. Yes, a joy. Linnell Young is 102 years old today. We celebrate via good vibes for her birthday today. We hold the people of Minneapolis, those targeted and those protesting, and the people of the United States, those targeted and those protesting, in our thoughts. We honor the complex and heartbreaking struggles of our world. We drop a stone for all who are impacted. In closing, for those joys and concerns that remain unspoken and held in our hearts, we drop a stone. May we hold each of these joys and concerns in our hearts and minds. May our community of love ease sorrow and boost celebration. Let us now join together in 1 minute of shared silence, followed by Spirit of Life.
On January the 26th in UU history, the week of January 25th in UU history. On January 26th of 1848, Henry David Thoreau, a transcendentalist, delivered a speech at the Concord Lyceum in Concord, Massachusetts, that later was published as Resistance to Civil Government. At the time, it inspired non-payment of taxes that funded a war. Often referred to simply as civil disobedience, that speech has long been taught in high school and college classrooms and served as the inspiration for Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. Offering our gifts to support the work of building inclusive and just communities is one of the many ways we live in justice and equity together. Some of us have much to give and some have little. And together it is enough. We are enough to work together for a world where every human can live into their best and most authentic self. This week is the fourth Sunday Donate the Basket offering. The Social Action Committee suggests that we concentrate this year on food insecurity in our community. This will supplement the contributions our members make by supporting Crosslines, the Crisis Cold Weather Shelter, Ecclesia, distributing food items at various community events, and the gardens planted by our Environmental Action Group. The Social Action Committee will research organizations that are helping with food insecurity, and like last year, ask the congregation to vote in the fall on a recipient for this year's offerings. All online donations marked D the B will be added to the fund. You may also bring your D the B check to church next Sunday and drop it in the basket. Virtual giving options are available via our website, springfielduu.org/donate. And that link will be in the chat as well. The offertory is building bridges.
Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions. I building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to visions? When reach out our voices and all our visions. When building bridges between our divisions. I building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to visions? When reach out to visions. Friends, we could make such sweet harmonies. Friends, we could make such sweet harmonies. Friends, we could make such sweet harmonies.
Good morning, friends. I am in the McDonald's parking lot in Clinton, Missouri, trying to get back to Springfield so I can open the shelter tonight. And going to be on Zoom with you here in just a little bit, but I wanted to record my message in advance because I'm going to say things that one probably ought not say in the McDonald's in Clinton, Missouri. So, as you all know, I'm on my way back from Minneapolis. I was there, got there very late Wednesday night, spent Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning there, and am now on my way home. couldn't make it all the way home last night because of the snow, so I stopped in Kansas City and left there this morning so I could get back to Springfield to open the shelter tonight. Because while I've been in Minneapolis, our shelter partners, both Paige and Ashley, have essentially been working 24 hours a day to keep 2 and 3 shelters open this weekend instead of just the one that we normally do. So thanks to everybody who has helped with that. Really appreciate it. And I want to tell you a little bit about my time in Minneapolis. So I went there at the call of a group called March, which is Multi-Faith Anti-Racist Change and Healing. It's a group of community organizers and partners who have worked together for lots of justice causes throughout the years. They are explicitly queer affirming, so that makes them a little different than some of the other community organizing groups in the area that welcome to the table people who aren't necessarily queer affirming but agree on other progressive issues. So there are lots of groups doing work in Minneapolis right now. And that's one of the things that I think they're teaching the country is that this work has to be decentralized, that it has to be hyper-local, and that we have to really work together to build networks, starting as close as our neighbors and then radiating out to be connected to other groups of support. As you know, by now I'm sure, there was another murder yesterday morning in the streets of Minneapolis at the hands of what I would call the occupying force, the federal government, in the form of ICE. And things are not getting better there at all. On Friday, I marched in the streets of Minneapolis. The temperature was something like negative 15 degrees the whole time we were out marching. And I was on the streets with 50,000 people. It was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had. That culminated in a rally at the Target Center, and people sat for hours and listened to neighbors and clergy and rabbis, all kinds of different people talking about what they're doing to resist right now this regime that has occupied their city and that, quite frankly, has occupied our nation. And so there's going to be a lot that comes out of that we'll talk about, but for now I just want to say this thing is serious. It's real. The people in Minnesota are giving the country a master class right now in what it looks like to do nonviolent resistance and to be serious about it. And I'm really excited to learn more from them. I think there's a lot that we're going to have to do where we are. The reality is that because we are in the reddest of red states, that this will come to us long after it has come to other places, that other places, other people will need us to show up because we have the privilege of being in this place where we're not going to be in as much danger as some other folks. But in the end, we're all in danger and we all have to respond. So we'll talk more about that in the coming weeks. As we move into this morning and continue to think about resistance as we have throughout this month, the plan was to give you a little bit of a break today and to talk about rest as resistance. Unfortunately, the events of our nation make it hard to get too much rest, but rest is still important. So we're still going to talk about rest as resistance today. Last week we talked about the hard truths of the ways that we've sanitized the memory of Dr. King. We talked about the 3.5% rule, the historical fact that mass mobilization is required to topple autocracy and to demand justice. And we looked at the terrifying reality of our current political moment, the threats to our democracy, the drums of war, and the giant triplets, as MLK called them, of racism, materialism, and militarism. I asked you last week and the week before to disrupt your comfort. I asked you to show up. And I know, because I feel it too, that for many of you, that call to action triggered a familiar and tightening sensation in your chest. It triggered this feeling of urgency, the feeling that there's so much to do and so little time, and if we stop moving, even for a second, the bad guys win. So today I want to offer you a different kind of invitation. If last week's invitation was to discomfort, then today is an invitation to sustainability. Because if we're going to be a part of that 3.5% that's required to change the world, to transform what we're experiencing right now, we have to survive the attempt. So here's the thing that I didn't say last week about that 3.5% rule. The rule that tells us that we need to get 12 million people out into the streets protesting and resisting this regime. Scholars Erica Chenoweth and Maria Stephan, who researched that 3.5% threshold, explain that mass participation is vital precisely because it brings greater and more sustained pressure to bear on the target. They argue that change happens through the aggregate total of our efforts over time. Notice the words sustained and aggregate. The work is not a singular explosion of energy, it's an accumulation of endurance. And we cannot sustain the pressure if we have collapsed under the weight of it. So we have to talk about rest. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Rest. You just told us the world is on fire. You want us to take a nap? Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Because in these days, self-care is not just for ourselves. So this week I've been reading Tricia Hersey's manifesto, Rest is Resistance. Hersey is a theologian, an activist, and founder of the NAP Ministry. And she diagnoses a spiritual sickness that lives in the very marrow of our culture. She calls it grind culture. And she writes that grind culture is violence. It's a collaboration between capitalism and white supremacy that views our bodies not as divine vessels, but as machines. It teaches us that our only value lies in what we can produce, how fast we can move, and how much we can endure. When we buy into the lie that we must constantly be exhausted to be virtuous, we are mimicking the systems that we are trying to dismantle. We're treating ourselves with the same violence that the system treats the oppressed. Hersey reminds us we're not resting to be productive. We're resting simply because it is our divine right to do so. This is the spiritual nuance that we have to hold today. We cannot dismantle a system of violence by doing violence to our own bodies. There's a brilliant organizer in the UU. Her name is Ashley Horan. And she gives us a framework for this by saying, we all have to take shifts for the revolution. Think about that. We all have to take shifts. This is the antidote to what I was talking about last week, this epic adventure in missing the point. We miss the point when we think that Dr. King did it all alone. We miss the point when we think we have to do it alone. The myth of the solitary hero is just that, a myth. It's a tool of the oppressor to make us feel isolated and overwhelmed. When we trust that we're a part of a collective, a great, sprawling, beautiful army of love, as King might call it, we realize that we're not called to be everywhere at once. We're just a part of the body. And just like a body, parts of us need to rest while other parts work. So you're invited to rest. Maybe that means taking a nap. When you turn off your phone and you refuse to look at the news for 24 hours because your soul is trembling, that's not quitting. It's not disengaging, it's trusting your community. It's saying, I trust the people around me, my comrades in this movement, to have the watch right now. I trust that the work continues even when my eyes are closed. Tricia Hersey asks a profound question. How can we imagine a world without police if we're all unable to imagine a world that includes rest for all? If we are exhausted, we can't imagine. When we're burned out, we operate out of survival mode. We react, we panic, we snap. We can't build the beloved community from a place of spiritual depletion. We need what Hersey calls dream space. We need the capacity to dream of a world that doesn't yet exist. And we can't dream if we never sleep. And hear me when I say that we are dreaming now of a world that doesn't yet exist, because the systems that have gotten us to this point in our country's life cannot be the systems that we come back to once we win this fight. And so we have to realize that when we pause, it's a part of the strategy. When we rest, we're refusing to let the current political nightmare dictate the rhythm of our hearts and our bodies. We're saying you may control the laws for now, you may control the courts, but you do not control my breath, you do not control my movements, you do not control my dreams. Last week I called you to mobilize. I called you to go to the Capitol, to make calls, to have hard conversations, and I stand by that call because we have to do those things. And also, the best thing that you can do for the movement is to do what you can within your capacity. If your capacity today is to march, then march. If your capacity is to call, then call. And if your capacity is to lie down and close your eyes and remember that you are a divine child of the universe, then do that. And do it without guilt. Because when you rest, you are sharpening your sword. You're healing your imagination. You are preparing for your next shift in the revolution. Friends, let us do the work of dismantling white supremacy. Let us disrupt white comfort, but let us never disrupt the sacred divinity of our own souls. Let us work hard. Let us trust each other deeply. And when the time comes, let us rest. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Hi, friends. Here I am still in the McDonald's parking lot, and want to have some conversation with you. And first, we're going to finish up our service with these closing words. So, our closing words are from Reverend Tandy Rogers. It's called A Space for Beauty. May your resistance be grounded in love. May you know when to rest and when to rise. May you remember that pushing back against harm is also a way for making space for beauty. And we're about to extinguish all of our chalices. If you have yours, and Becca will extinguish our communal chalice, and we'll use our unison sending words. Let's not put them on the screen, Adam. I'm going to put them in the chat. All right. Our service here is ending. Our service to the world begins anew. So, thanks to everyone who's here today. We haven't done Zoom church for a while. We're a little rusty, and that's okay. It's a joy to be with you, even when things make it difficult. I really love the video that we used for the last song, because it showed us in the sort of pandemic era, in the beginning of the pandemic, when we were just learning how really to take good care of each other and to serve one another when we couldn't be together all the time, ways to connect and just look out for each other. And I think that's a place that we're headed back into. So important for us to be connected with all the people around us, like I said, hyper locally, starting with your next door neighbors and radiating out from there. It is the time for us to really get to know and care for our neighbors. Certainly if they are immigrants, but also there's lots of reasons that people are in danger right now and need to be cared for. So I'm going to offer a couple of announcements, and then also if anyone has any questions or things that you'd like for me to share a little more about my time in Minneapolis, I would invite you to put that in the chat. And so as far as announcements, today was going to be a new member welcome, and obviously we postponed that because we weren't able to be together in person. But know that will be happening 2 weeks from today. So if you are thinking about membership and haven't finished that process yet, please do reach out to me or Pharaoh, and we can help you with that process. There is a link on the website that talks about pathways to membership that will give you more information about that. And secondly, the search committee for our Director of Religious Education is doing their work and needs your input. So if you receive our emails, you probably got an email, a link in an email this week to a survey. We would really love for everyone to fill that out, even today. That would be great. We will have hard copies of it at church next week, though, for those who don't do those kinds of things virtually, but we would ask that everyone who can go ahead and get that filled out for us. And I think that's all the announcements. So I'm curious if there's anything that anybody specifically wants me to talk about from my time in Minneapolis, or if you're ready to just go into some breakout rooms and talk to each other. All right. And you can feel free to unmute as well if you have something you want to offer.
Michelle, I just wanted to say it's good to see that you're not in custody.
Well, let me talk about that. So there were 100 clergy that were arrested at the Minneapolis airport on Friday morning. And that was a highly coordinated, highly planned action. There were probably about 300 clergy total that were there at the airport, and the 100 clergy who were arrested knew that they would likely be arrested on that day. There was a bail fund, and the folks who were running the bail fund and the legal aid asked that no one from out of state be included in that number, so they didn't have to deal with those extra hurdles. So folks who were from out of state were kind of the second tier of the action, singing and praying on the sidewalk, but not blocking entrance to the departures of the airport. So that did happen. It was a really well executed action. And one of the things that I talked about last week is that when we are protesting and we're doing direct action, it's really important that the direct actions disrupt the daily life of the folks who aren't otherwise impacted by what's going on. That's part of the point. In some ways, it's a little bit of theater, and it's really intentional to get a narrative out there and to help other people see something that they hadn't yet seen. So that's what happened there. They were all processed and released, and were treated very well. And recognize their privilege in that not everyone who gets arrested at a protest is processed and released and treated well. So, thanks for asking about that.
So,
Michelle,
go ahead.
Michelle, this is Bob. Did you have encounters with the local Minneapolis police, and any comments in that regard?
Yeah. So the local Minneapolis police are actually trying to protect the people from ICE right now. You may or may not have seen a press conference last week where the Minneapolis police chief and a number of other police chiefs came out to say, they said, you're not going to hear us say abolish ICE because we think immigration enforcement is important, and the people who are on our streets right now representing the federal government and ICE are not operating within the law. Even Minneapolis police officers who are people of color have been stopped and harassed by ICE workers. So there's a real tension brewing there. So all of the experience that I had with Minneapolis police while I was there was good, positive experience. They were there in support of the march, keeping people safe. On the day of the march, the ICE folks, I think, knew that they were going to be far outnumbered, so they focused their efforts in Rochester and terrorized the community there, going into the Mayo Clinic and detaining people from their hospital beds. They are going into hospitals and chaining people to their hospital beds, and sometimes just taking them out of the hospital with no warrants and no cause for that. So, yeah.
Michelle, on Meet the Press this morning, they were interviewing Trump's representative for all those groups, and he was saying that the reason of all these problems is that the local police would not cooperate with them in enforcing all this stuff, and blaming all this trouble on them and the fact that we had 50,000 terrorists out there rather than 50,000 demonstrators, and you were one of them.
Yes, yes. Well, I am proud to be labeled a domestic terrorist by this regime. So I think we're going to see more. It's not going to end well, for sure. The Minnesota National Guard has been deployed. All of the police forces in Minnesota are trying to protect their people from the federal government at this point. It just continues to escalate. And I will say the people of Minneapolis, as I said in the recording, are giving us a masterclass in what nonviolent resistance looks like, and sustained nonviolent resistance. I was in the streets, probably maybe 4 to 6 hours total, in temperatures that were anywhere from -10 to -20 degrees. And these folks have been out every day, all day. Because the reality is, all these people who have been detained or risk detention, none of them can leave their house to go to work. So all of these people are creating networks of food distribution and all those kinds of things. The group that I was with split up into several different cohorts on Friday morning, and one of the groups was at a church that is it's a Disciples of Christ church, I believe. No, it's a UCC church, and it's very much a Hispanic church. Lots of immigrants there. And while our group was there for a panel discussion on Friday morning, they had the building locked down because ICE was outside harassing the folks there. So, yeah, it really is literally unbelievable, the way that they're operating in Minneapolis right now. And not just in Minneapolis. Same thing is happening in Maine, in Chicago and Memphis. So, yeah.
Michelle?
Yeah.
Did you find out how to get paid for all this? Who's paying all the...
Darn it. If Antifa really were an organization that had money, we'd all be better off, right? Yeah, ain't nobody getting paid. Just people who are literally giving all of their time and resources to try and save their neighbors. Yeah. So there's a couple of notes in the chat, videos and photo. I have just a few. Literally on the march, it was too cold to take a glove off to operate the phone, but I do have a few. There are Doris organizations on the ground locally. I'll create a list of them if folks want to make donations, because they really are going through all the supplies that are available. Even the group, so I was there as a part of this clergy call to Minneapolis, and there were about 700 clergy people there in our group. This event was organized in 6 days because everything escalated so quickly. And in those 6 days, they did a registration, they arranged meals and location and transportation and all these different experiences. And they said, these people are coming from all over the country. They have no idea how to dress. They're going to think they brought the right stuff, but it's not going to be the right stuff. Can y'all bring some stuff? They said this to the local people, and the church where we were all doing our training and stuff. They had just a hallway that was full of tables that had all of this cold weather gear that people brought in so that the folks marching could be protected from the weather. So what are some of the ways folks in the local area can support those who have been affected? That's a really good question. Like I said, I will share a list of organizations there that are doing the work. Yesterday, or Friday, there was a general strike that they called for in Minneapolis. Lots of businesses closed down, hundreds and hundreds of businesses closed for the day. Some businesses that needed to stay open donated their profits from the day to different local organizations that are doing legal aid, food assistance, rental assistance. There are mutual aid organizations that have literally popped up overnight because all of these folks who can't leave their house to go to work, they also obviously are not getting paid, which means they are not going to be able to pay their rent. And so they're working to create an eviction moratorium right now in the state of Minnesota, but they don't know if that will happen yet or not. Both the St. Paul and Minneapolis city councils have voted to go forward with that.
But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So there are a lot of people literally at risk of becoming homeless, unable to pay their bills, who simply need funds for mutual aid. And then I would say the other thing that we can do is we have to get better about our own kind of local connections. One of the things that was really apparent to me was the need for this work to be decentralized. And sometimes we rely on one organization to take care of a particular thing. And when something fails with that organization, then it fails everybody who's in need. We see that sometimes with the crisis cold weather shelter system. And we have come to understand that sometimes we have to operate outside of those systems and create these hyperlocal networks that are connected together, so that we can have a wider impact, but it really does start with the folks right next door. The donated buckets that I took with me, I still have a few of them in my car, because I was supposed to drop the rest of them off yesterday at a drop-off location, which was in the block that Alex Preddy was killed in. And so I was not able to go there yesterday, but the buckets are being used when tear gas is thrown into crowds of people to cover the tear gas canister and try to contain the tear gas. And that sounds dramatic, but it's happening every day, all the time, everywhere. And just part of the way they're operating right now. So goggles, chemical protection goggles, and 5-gallon buckets have become the resources of the resistance.
Michelle, did I understand you to say that the National Guard up there have been activated?
Yes.
Are they supporting ICE? Or are they trying to protect their fellow citizens up there?
Yeah, they're trying to protect the citizens of Minneapolis from ICE, but there's a lot in the system that doesn't allow them to just say that's the mission. And so one of the things that they can do is protect state property. So the Whipple building is where people being detained are taken and processed. And so there have been protests there all day, every day since all of this started. So there's a bunch of National Guard folks who are now stationed at the Whipple building to hopefully be a barrier in those interactions between ICE and the protesters. Any other questions? I want to say that I appreciate the all of the support that you all provided as I was getting ready to go to Minneapolis. Moral support, financial support, supplies, all the things. Even this little candle. Thank you very much. I ended up needing it last night for the call to light a candle at 7:00 in solidarity with the folks of Minneapolis. So that's that. I'm going to open some breakout groups so folks can say hi to each other. And we'll do 2 rounds. We'll do 2 rounds of breakout groups. So about 5 minutes, chat with each other, and then we'll mix you up and throw you into another breakout room. And so we all just get to say hi to each other. And then we'll all come back and say goodbye. So here we go. You should have an invitation on your screen to join a breakout group. folks that are still here in the main room, feel free to chat with each other if you want. I have to change devices because my computer's about to die. It's going to toss you all into another breakout room in a minute.
Well, there we are.
just heard myself say that.
Hi, Paul and Rebecca.
Hello.
Oh,
How are you?
oh, you're still alive.
There's Jane Washington.
Hello. It's me. I'm still alive. What do you mean? Sometimes I wonder if I am.
Hello. Hi, Jane.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh, I got
Alright.
muted. Yeah, I can't tell if we're going back into. I think they're putting us back in.
Yeah,
Michelle,
Michelle.
Yeah,
Michelle,
we're,
you're muted.
room?
we're back in the crowd. That's okay.
There you go. Now we're
Crowds are
back.
fun.
Oh, I thought they were going to send us to another breakout room.
I thought so too.
They meant
Which is-
to.
Well,
They meant-
I'm in a new breakout room.
Are you?
I
Well,
think-
maybe we're our.
It's a huge one.
I
think you're back with everybody.
Oh no.
I think I'm in a new breakout room too.
Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah.
So some folks made it to new breakout rooms and some folks ended up here. So that's okay. Folks who are here will be in a breakout room together.
Wow.
Okay.
A big room.
Yeah.
Hey, people, break out.
Yeah.
Michelle, what are you coming? You're going to get back into town, aren't you? Now, pretty much. You're what? 2 hours away? A little
Yeah,
over?
about an hour and a half, I think.
Depending
till-
on road conditions.
Yeah, it's really it's in really good shape. I mean, there's only one driving lane, but even in Kansas City there was one driving lane and that worked, and then taking 7 and 13 down to Springfield. So far, I haven't been on 13 yet, but 7 has had one clear lane all the way. So shout out to MoDOT. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to say happy birthday to Doris.
Yeah.
Oh,
Happy
Doris.
birthday.
Hi,
It was-
Melanie.
It's
I always
today
like it
is your
when-
birthday? Doris, you're muted.
Muted. I always like it when Doris has her birthday because she catches up with Ross and me.
Huh.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm 87.
Okay.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
so are we.
Getting up there.
Here I go worrying about thinking I was the oldest person in the church, and I am not even close.
Right.
No, not this church.
Yeah, you're young.
Hi, Doris.
Hi, bye.
Yeah, Amy's 90.
Yeah.
Michelle,
Yeah.
your description of Minneapolis reminded me of a demonstration in Dallas 1,000,000 years ago, where they went to the airport and they occupied all the stalls in the restrooms. And people would get off, they'd have 20 minutes, to change planes, and they'd go in the restroom and all the stalls were occupied.
Yep.
I can't remember what that was for, but
So somehow, Doris, somehow or other, I don't think that was converting people to your cause.
Really?
Sounds
Really?
painful.
but it certainly got the attention of the authorities.
Well,
I think they were.
Negotiated something.
I think they were saying, "Hold that thought."
Just hold it.
Oh my!
But I just thought that was a kind of a creative thought.
Yeah. Well, and when they shut down the airport, they shut down the traffic to the departures. However, if you really needed to get there, you could have gone down to arrivals and come back up through baggage claim, and they had someone there telling people that. So I think there's a balance in those experiences between disruption and
Right.
helping people
Yeah.
get what they need too.
I have a friend whose daughter and son-in-law live in Minneapolis. And,
Hi.
and he's been going to their local school with the whistle after school when school's letting out every day. So I really admire that.
Yes. So in Minneapolis, again, this is why the kind of hyper local organizing is important. Every neighborhood is doing patrols around their schools. They've detained a 5-year-old from a preschool.
Yep.
They've taken elementary students. They've taken middle school, high school students. The high school students quite brutally. So, grown men tackling 16, 17-year-old kids. And so every neighborhood has organized patrols where they have 8 to 10 people. They're literally running license plates when they pull in to be able to warn if a vehicle that's likely to be occupied by an ICE agent is in. And the ICE folks have been harassing the people on the patrols, coming up in plain clothes and trying to pretend that they're someone from the neighborhood, which is important. Why it's important that we know each other.
And we say ICE, but it was the Border Patrol people that.
Right.
Yeah. It's just sort of easier to say ICE, but it's also Border Patrol people.
Yes. Right. Yeah. They're all working together. So. Yeah, it's a real mess, and it's certainly, a place that I never imagined we would be, but we sure are here.
Well, we are now.
Yeah, are we even in the United States anymore?
Right,
the one we knew.
Yeah, and our friends of color would say it's absolutely the one we've known.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's not the one we knew means that, it's
do any of you know, is there any ICE action in Springfield at all? I mean, you never hear about it, or it's not very visible if it is.
So what I've been told is that ICE is active in Springfield, but that they're not the problem. That they have been operating for the most part legally, but the Greene County Sheriff's Department
that's what I've heard too.
Who profits from every person in detention, is the ones that are working the hardest to detain the most people.
Well, we are all back, folks.
You caught me off.
Sorry, Jane, you want to finish whatever you were saying?
No, I was talking to Bob. I don't know, is Bob around? Bob and Linda, we were the only ones in the chat group. Bob and Linda refused
There's
to
Bob.
She refused to come on the camera because she's not dressed right.
Oh. Well, I'm not dressed right either. I somehow only brought enough clothes for like the clothes that I wore in the 2 days that I was doing activities. I didn't even bring clothes for Saturday, like it didn't exist. And now it's Sunday. So of the last 5 days, I have worn this shirt, 3 of them.
Okay.
I was surprised not to see plaid.
Right. They're plaid shirts or plaid shirts.
I can't
must all be in the laundry.
Yeah, I can't speak for the rest of us, Michelle, but some of us, like me, have worn the same shirt for the last several days too because of the storm.
I must say, Michelle, I'm very proud to be one of your church people. I think you're doing a fabulous job, and thank you for going up north.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate the freedom to be able to do that. Not all of my colleagues have that kind of freedom and trust with their congregation, so I deeply appreciate the trust that you put in me.
Well, following up on what you had to say, go home and rest.
Yeah. Yeah. Take a long nap.
Yes. Well, thank you all. It's been so good to be with you today. I've missed being on Zoom with the folks that I don't ever get to see in the sanctuary. So
right. Right.
I'm glad we got to do this today. Everybody have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Peace to all.